What is going on, guys? Brewer here, back again with another banger of a video, and today we're going to be going over a PDF that I actually created that breaks down exactly how I find winning products, what criteria I look for, what characteristics to look out for, and also the formula for creating a unicorn product, which a lot of people have asked me about since my last video. So we're going to be going over everything in the PDF. Now, if you want to get the PDF for yourself so that you can actually follow along and use it as you're doing your product research so that you don't need to keep the video up, there will be a link in the description where you can join my free Discord. There will be a link in the general chat that will allow you to download the PDF. So click the link below, join my free Discord. It's going to be an amazing chat, and I'm going to get some great people in there to do some networking, coaching, live calls, lots of things that are going to happen over the next month or two with that. But go join the Discord, get the PDF for yourself so that you can follow along with this video, and you can keep it open when you're doing your product research, and you can use it as a kind of guideline to follow. When you're looking at a product, you can go through the checklist and make sure that that product hits all the marks. So I'll go ahead and take a pause so you can go download that PDF. All right, cool. Now that you're back, let's actually break down everything in this PDF real quick. So the first thing we cover is where to actually find products. The next thing we cover is the base criteria that we are looking for when we're actually searching products. The next one is winning characteristics. These are things that you want to look out for when you're doing your product research. And the last one is unicorn status bonus. So these are going to be all the criterias just to keep an eye out on for really, really banger products. If you don't know what a unicorn product is, they're products that seem to scale to 7 figures, multi-7 figures almost effortlessly, 7+ ROAS, whatever, just ridiculous numbers out the gate. It's very hard to find them, and they are very rare, but they are possible to find. The last case study I did was actually what I would consider a unicorn product that did $1 million in 60 days, and we were able to scale it to 30K a day in 30 days. So these are all the things that every single unicorn product that I've seen have in common. So we're going to get to that, just give it a minute, but first let's talk about where we actually look for products. So obviously, I'm sure I've said it a million times on this channel, probably the best place to find products is just straight up scrolling through AliExpress. Open up AliExpress, there's many different categories that you can scroll through. There's also channels that are optimized to show you products that are similar to the ones that you've been viewing in the past. Those are great as well. Many different searching channels as well. You can search up different product types, categories, niches, whatever you want to do. AliExpress is an amazing place to find products. Now, it is a little bit tedious to sit there and scroll through AliExpress, and I understand that. However, it is ultimately the elite way to do product research. Like, there's an unlimited amount of products that are listed on AliExpress, millions of products, and usually the big bangers, the big pioneers, the first place they go is AliExpress. Some of them, pop up on Alibaba or Taobao. There's other marketplaces that are also really great that you shouldn't ignore and you should also scroll through. However, AliExpress is obviously the big dog, and that's where pretty much everybody goes for, dropshipping suppliers, at least in the beginning. So like I said, number one way to find products, simply scrolling through AliExpress. The next one, using ad spy tools. Tools like ad spy or PP ads, depending on which platform you're looking through, are great because they show you ads that are currently running on the platforms for different products. So this is a little bit difficult because most of the ads are going to be for like actual brands and products that you can't replicate. But if you dig deep enough, you're able to find dropshipping stores and dropshippers that are currently running ads with products. And if they're currently running ads, you can basically do the math in your head and figure out, hey, if these guys are currently running ads and they have 30,000 likes on their ad, then it's probably doing something. It's probably making sales. It's probably profitable. Something's probably going on. And then you can go ahead and, basically copycat their product, right? You can take their product, add your own website, your own product description, make your own ads, basically make it better and go ahead and test that product for yourself. One of the biggest benefits of finding products with this method is that that somebody is currently out there advertising that particular product, as opposed to finding products on AliExpress. It's kind of up in the air and you don't really know if there's people out there that are running those products. But one thing you need to keep in mind is you and 300 other people just like you are also looking on these platforms. So one little tip that I can leave you with is make sure that you set up your search in a unique enough way, don't just search through the homepage, add some filters, add some variety there so that you're not just seeing the same exact shit that everybody else is seeing. And of course, as always, dig deep. run as deep as you can, keep scrolling, go through as many listings as you can, because obviously most of the things on the top are going to be mostly saturated as everybody else is seeing them as well, and everybody else is testing those products. The next one is scrolling through actual platforms and looking at what's going viral and what people are currently running ads to. Again, this is probably the method that has made me the most money over the last year, which is just scrolling through platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels, Instagram feeds, Facebook feeds. Facebook shows Reels as well. They also show advertisements on their Reels. So literally just by spending time on the platforms that you advertise on, you can find winning products and find products that maybe are even untapped. Like there's been plenty of times that I'll see a product go viral, a few days ago, and then I'll go and test it and it'll pop off because it's new. Whoever made that product go viral pretty much pioneered that product, and then you can basically copy them and go test with paid ads. Many different places that you can search through. Like I said, Facebook feed, Facebook Reels, Instagram, same thing, feed and Reels, Snapchat highlights, TikTok For You page will show you advertisements and videos that are currently going viral. You can also search up TikTok hashtags. Like if you're trying to find certain niches or certain creators, you can scroll for days on hashtags. There's millions of videos on TikTok. And one of the downsides of this method is it's a very slow grind, right? Like if you're opening up AliExpress, you could basically just open it up, scroll through literally 1,000 products and get a few good products to test right now. However, with this method, you're going to be spending some time, scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through TikTok, looking for things that, basically have to come to you, right? With AliExpress, you're going to the list of products, and when you're scrolling through these platforms, you're basically waiting to stumble upon something good. So keep that in mind, that this method takes a little bit of time, but it has the benefit of being able to find products that are untapped and being able to find products that are currently popping, whether it's organically or with paid ads. And that's why I think this method has made us the most money, is simply because, scrolling through these platforms, it gets you on the front lines and it gets you those great products that are popping off just now. And maybe they're not saturated and they're not completely untapped. It's kind of somewhere in between being completely untapped and being saturated, if that makes any sense. And the next product research method, I'm actually not going to mention on this channel because I don't want it to get too saturated, and I want those of you who actually go and get the PDF to benefit from this strategy, because it's not going to work forever. So if you don't have the PDF, check the Discord link in the description. It's completely free. Just go and join. Feel free to introduce yourself to the community. I'm happy to meet you. I'll be in there answering questions and giving as much value as I can as well. But let's save this method for the people that actually go and get the PDF. And if you have the PDF, you know exactly why. It's a great method, but it's not going to last forever. Now, the next thing you need to know for finding really good winning products is the base criteria that I follow when I'm actually doing my product research. These are essentially the rules that I try to stick by when I'm looking for a product. And if I find something that's actually interesting, you can use this as a checklist. Okay, it meets this criteria, meets that criteria, doesn't meet this one, does meet this criteria. You can use it however you want. These things are an absolute necessity to keep yourself in check, and it's also a way for me to portray my experience and what I've seen work well onto you. So product research is one of those things that's incredibly hard to teach because a lot of it is experience based. So what I've done in this PDF is I've tried to take all of my experience and formulate them into words and criterias and rules that would allow you to essentially follow the rules and find winning products. Now, in theory, it should work very well, but keep in mind that most of this is experience based, and you're going to have to use your own judgments and your own opinions and your own experience in order to find real winning products. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that. But let's get into the base criteria. So number one is the ideal selling price. Now, my opinion varies depending on the platform. If you're somebody who's selling on Facebook primarily, then I would say that you want a selling price of anywhere between $30 and $150. Honestly, I've sold things up to $250 on Facebook and as little as $10 on Facebook. So there are definitely exceptions, but the majority of the winning products I've had with Facebook ads are between $30 and $150. So keep that in mind. Now with TikTok, it's a little bit different. The highest winning product I've found on TikTok is about $80. Maybe it's because I don't test that many high ticket products on TikTok just because of the nature of the platform and the types of products I look for, but those are usually the averages of the winning products that we find. Now, if you go back and watch my TikTok product research videos before, you'll notice that my selling price has actually went up quite a bit. Before, I was seeing that, we were selling $15 products and being really, really profitable. And now it is definitely possible, but I'm just not seeing it as often. And I'm trying to only test products that are $30 or higher. It's just one of those things. I don't think CPMs and average costs are going up, but I do think competition is getting higher. And I do think that the average cost per purchase is definitely going up. You can still get $1, $2, $3 cost per purchases, but like I said, I just moved my criteria up because I want to be on the higher end. I want to make more money per sale rather than just trying to push a ridiculous amount of volume, especially when you take the inconsistencies of TikTok ads into play here. If you're selling a product that's $10 and you're only making $2 to $3 per sale, then one bad day could set you back quite a few days. It could set you back weeks, as opposed to if you're selling a higher ticket product, most of the time they stay break even on a bad day. So that's one of the things that I would like to keep in mind when I'm looking for products. The next thing, ideal margin. So cool, we're selling it between $30 and $150 or $30 and $80. What should I be sourcing the product for? Like if you're selling it for $80, what should you be buying it for? There's only one rule that you need to know here. Minimum of 50% margin. So if you're buying a product for $15, you need to sell it for at least $30. If you're buying a product for $40, you need to sell it for at least $80. The higher margin that you can have, the better. If you can work out an 80% gross margin on your product and it still makes sense from a perceived value perspective and all the other perspectives, then definitely do it. Like, don't just settle for your 50% margin. Push to get what you can, and maybe if you think that you set it too high, you can drop it a little bit lower and retest it. That's one of the things that I've done a few times, and I've also tested a little bit low and then went back and retested it a little bit higher. From what I've seen, if you have a 50% margin, it does give you enough margin to have a profitable cost per purchase and be able to scale fairly high. But again, the higher your margin, the better. And really, under zero circumstances should you be doing under 50% gross margins, unless you're doing like only organic strategies and you're just trying to compete on price. But keep it in mind, if you do want to transition into advertising from organic, then you're probably going to want to have a 50% margin anyways, just so that you're set up to do that. The next piece of criteria is that your product must solve a problem, not only a problem, but a valuable problem for a broad audience. Now, the reason I say a valuable problem is because not all problems are valuable, and my students come to me all the time with problem solving products, but they don't actually take time to consider the actual value of the problem that the product is solving. And the reason why I say a broad audience is because I think just advertising platforms in general, their algorithms, their optimization, and their pixels are getting smarter and smarter, and which basically allows you to do more open targeting and have more scalable ads. In my opinion, I think the advertising platforms are going in this direction naturally. I don't think they're forcing it. I think it's just happening because of the amount of data they're collecting. And I think the best way to capitalize on that is doing products that are sort of outside of a niche, and not really limiting yourself to a particular niche, because broad targeting works very, very well. And if you're selling a super niche product, then it's hard to justify taking advantage of broad targeting, especially in the early testing phases when you're just trying to see what works. The next one is incredibly important. The product must be native and it must be fun. What do I mean by this? In my opinion, social media in general has definitely moved into the direction of being more of an entertainment platform than a social media. I mean, of course, we're still social on the platforms, but when you open up TikTok or you open up Facebook, are you opening that up to see what Billy is doing on a Saturday night? Not really. You're opening it up to have a laugh or pass some time or, get some giggles or learn something. It's more turned into these entertainment platforms, and it's just a different vibe now. So all that means is it really, really helps when your product is fun, or if it's super native to the platform and it makes sense in the context of which people are reading it. Whereas if there's no way that you can spin your product and advertise it in a way that makes somebody giggle or entertained in any way possible, I think it's much harder to actually drive conversions and get that emotion out of people, which we will talk about later on in this video, how to spark emotion and spark real impulse. But this is one of those things where you want to be able to spin your product in a fun way or an entertaining way or an educational way, so that people actually get something out of watching your ads. And it's not just like, oh, here's an ad. It's more like, here's a funny ad, or here's an entertaining ad, or here's an educational ad. I always like to add something onto my ads, and in my opinion, all products should have something that you can add to it. Now, the next criteria is incredibly important as well, and the product must induce a deep emotion or a deep reaction upon first impression. Now, what I mean when I say this is when you're scrolling through AliExpress or scrolling through TikTok and you see this product, it should get you excited in some sort of way. Excited, urgency, it should be nostalgic, it should spark up some sort of emotional response into you where you're like, oh shit, this could be a winning product. Or you could picture other people seeing it and be like, oh shit, I need to get this like now. Honestly, the easiest way to do this is to find something that's new, that solves a huge problem, right? Because if it's new, then people are going to have the urgency, they're going to have the excitement of finding, a new solution to their problem. If it is a huge problem, then it's going to incentivize them to actually pull the trigger and go ahead and buy that product. And obviously, if you pair that with a great ad that communicates it really well in an entertaining fashion, shows the problem that is being solved and how the product works, and it's new and it's at a great price, and you can get people really hyped up about your product where they're actually clicking your ad and impulse buying it on the spot. And that's pretty much how you be profitable on the front end with dropshipping, is pretty much just people impulse buying it. So as much emotion as we can spark, as much reaction as we can spark, the more reaction and emotion your product can spark, the better. And that's all this criteria is trying to prove. Now, along with this criteria, I also want to give you some characteristics of certain products that you should look out for. Certain things to just keep in mind when you're scrolling, and you can actually use to your advantage. So number one is the product is tied to something or could be tied to something that is currently trending or going viral in some way, shape, or form. So what I mean by this is if there's a certain sound or a certain dance or a certain movie or a certain whatever that's trending and kind of going viral in the world, such as the Minion movie or the Amber Heard trial, like if you can tie your product to those types of situations in any way, then I would say that that's a great sign that you could be sitting on a winning product. You could definitely spark up some emotion, spark up some excitement, and basically just ride a wave, right? Like you can tie a product to a certain trend and ride a wave. I've definitely talked about this on the channel before because it's something that has always been there and it's always going to be there. So this is a great thing to know and implement. Another great sign and another great thing to keep an eye out for is if the product has gone viral in the past on YouTube, Reels, or TikTok, or really any platform in general. If a video goes viral, then that means somebody has already voiced the problem, they've already voiced the solution, and people love that video enough to like it and share it, get the YouTube algorithm or the Instagram algorithm or the TikTok algorithm to actually go out and promote it as, entertainment or valuable, educational, whatever. So if the product has gone viral in the past, it's a great indication that that problem or that product is solving a problem that's good enough that actually gets it viral, gets it some traction, and gets it some groundwork. So if you have a product that you're like ever on the fence about, you can always look it up on YouTube or look it up on TikTok or Instagram and see if people are talking about it. And if people are talking about it, you can see how people react to it. And usually if there's viral videos, 50K plus views on YouTube or whatever, on TikTok, millions of views, then it's safe to say that the audience has spoken and people like the product or at least the solution to their problems that that product solves. Another great thing to look out for is previous winning products on other advertising platforms. You can find previous winning products pretty easily just by searching through Google or searching through Facebook or searching through these platforms, looking at different ads. One example is I had a student one time that was really, really great at Pinterest ads, and I had a product that was slapping really hard with Facebook. So I gave him the product that was slapping hard with Facebook. I'm like, hey, go test this out on Pinterest, and it absolutely slapped on Pinterest. Like it did way better on Pinterest than it did with Facebook, and that's just an example of how you could find a winning product that was working on Facebook and then bring it over to Pinterest or bring it over to Snapchat or bring it over to TikTok, or find something that's working on TikTok and bring it over to Google Ads. So many different ways that you can spin this. This is a great way to find winning products as well. Obviously helps if you're smart with multiple platforms at once, but again, you don't have to be super smart or experienced with Google Ads to find winning products with Google Ads. You literally just have to search up stuff on Google. Another great thing to look out for, or a winning characteristic, or something that I would, basically add points to a product for if it had, is the potential to be transitioned or private labeled into an actual brand. Of course, this is a small one. It's not that big of a deal. Most products eventually can be transitioned into a brand, or you could get into manufacturing to add your own characteristics to it, but just something to keep in mind when you're doing your product research, that if you have a product that's like super saturated and there's a million people selling it, it's going to be hard to kind of build a brand and take market share of that market, as opposed to it being a fairly new product or a new version of an old product that you could easily put your logo on or manufacture in a really unique way. Just something to keep in mind if you're thinking for the long term. So that's all the criteria and all the characteristics that you should have on standby when you're doing your product research, so that you can kind of check off the boxes. Maybe a certain product meets like 3 out of 5 of the criteria. That's fine. I don't think products have to meet every single criteria and every single characteristic to be worth testing. I just think it should meet some of them, especially the sell price, the margin, the perceived value, making sure that it solves a valuable problem. They're all just basic stuff, right? Just keep the PDF on your side when you're doing your product research, check off the boxes. Now let's go into the unicorn status products. These are all the things that I've seen unicorn products have in common. This is not like something to look out for if you're trying to find unicorn products, because like I said, like I've tested literally thousands of products and I've only had like 5 or 6 unicorn products that I've been blessed with to be able to scale and be a part of. So they're incredibly hard to find and very hard to replicate. However, I thought it was fair to share this since I talked about this concept in my last video and a lot of you piqued interest about it. And I also thought about leaving this out of the video and just, leaving it in the PDF so that you guys can go get the PDF and read about it yourself. But I'm going to give it to you guys because I know not everybody's going to get the PDF, and I want to get this message out there because I think it's very interesting. So number 1, and this is probably the most important one and the one that struck me home the most, especially when I was first scaling products and learning how to test products and find winners like back in 2018, 2019. And that is that every single product that I've scaled to 7 figures or higher has been found with the Pioneer method. Now, what I mean by this is we are not scrolling through platforms. We were not scrolling through, AdSpy or PP ads. We were not doing the copycat method. That's all copycat method stuff. When you see something that's working and replicate it. Every single 7-figure product we found, we literally found it by scrolling through AliExpress. One of them was found in a flyer, like a physical flyer that was mailed to my student. He just saw it in the flyer and then found it on Ali and then sold it, and it ended up doing $1.4 million with like a 4 or 5 ROAS the whole time. It was ridiculous. Now, this is not something that you can really force because most products on AliExpress, people have already ran through. It's hard to find things that are fully untapped, and it's not 100% realistic for you to only test products that are fully untapped. It's also not the best strategy. Just because it's not untapped doesn't mean it can't make you money, and you could be limiting yourself by only testing products that are untapped. Another thing to keep in mind is you don't have to be the first person to test a product on a particular platform to get the benefits of the Pioneer method. You just have to be early enough to where it's not ran through by every dropshipper and their sisters. The next thing that all 7-figure products have had in common is perceived value. Now, what I mean by this is the perceived value of the product was way, way, way higher than the price that we were selling it for. This means that it was essentially a no-brainer offer. And the way that we do this is essentially the problem that the product solves is just incredibly high, or the average price of that product in other places is just incredibly high. So a couple things to look out for is if there's a product that you're seeing on AliExpress for, let's say $50, right? And then you go over to Google and you search up the product and everybody on Google has it for sale for like $250, $300, whatever, then that creates a very unique opportunity for you to come in, buy it for $50, sell it for $100, and you're still getting that 50% margin, but you're gonna be the cheapest product on the market, and people are gonna see this and they're gonna be like, how the hell is this so cheap? And they're just gonna spring up to go and buy it. So we saw this a lot with tools. We saw this a lot with, accessories, electronics, of course. Back when we were doing Facebook ads, I wouldn't say tools have worked that great on TikTok so far, but just some examples, like there were certain tools that if you tried to buy them from Home Depot, they were like $300, but we were able to source them on Ali for like $60. So we came into the market selling them for $100, $120, under $150, which is still half of where everywhere else was selling it. So people would see it and they would just buy it because it was cool as shit, solved a great problem, and it was a no-brainer price. Now, the next thing that every 7-figure product had in common was they were great at creating real impulse. We talked about this a little bit earlier on in the video, so I'm not gonna go too in depth here, but essentially there's a number of things that create real impulse. Number 1, a product that is new and unique. It solves a really big problem, it has great perceived value, and it's a no-brainer offer. And the last one obviously is a good ad, but that pretty much goes without saying. So if you have a mixture of all those things, then you can create a real impulse where people will see your great ad, they'll see the great solution to their problem, they'll see the great price, they'll have the perceived value in their mind. So it's just a mix of these things that just makes them click your ad and instantly buy it. And that's the exact reaction that these types of products get out of people, and why they have such high conversion rates and such high return on ad spends is because a large majority of people that see the ad and click the website actually go through to purchase because of all of these factors. Now, this one's very interesting, and this is for all you gray hat guys. You aren't gonna like this, but it is what it is. The product must not break any advertising policies, and it has to work as advertised. I've seen a lot of people try to cheat the system, selling alcohol products or sex toys, or basically products that say that they cure acne when they actually don't, or they cure hair loss when they actually don't. And I promise you, you're not going to make it very far if your product doesn't work as advertised or if it breaks any policies. That's why it's one of these criterias for a unicorn product, because you're going to get to 5K a day, you're going to get to 10K a day, and then you're going to get banned because of a low feedback score or because you're breaking policies. So just one of the things to keep in mind, that while yes, you can hit $1 million in sales if your product doesn't work or if it breaks policies, it's not easy, right? So I wouldn't qualify that as a unicorn product, I guess. Now, the last thing to keep in mind, which is really great, is that every single unicorn product I've scaled was found in Q3 or around that time and scaled through Q4. So like basically the last half of the year is when the product was really booming and all the money was made. Now you can argue that this is a coincidence and we just found the winners in Q3 and made the most money because Q4 was right around the corner. Very well a possibility. However, I've seen 5 or 6 of these types of products that just scale to $1 million with no issues, and it could be a coincidence, but I've seen enough of them to where it's probably not a coincidence at this point. The great news for you though, it's Q3 right now, and right now is literally the best time to be finding winning products because it sets you up so perfectly. Like literally November is 4 months away, Black Friday, Cyber Monday's coming up, people are gonna be spending a lot of money on Christmas shopping, buying gifts. Most people's birthdays are actually at the end of the year. So right now is a great time to be selling products online, and just knowing in the back of your mind that every single unicorn product was found in Q3, maybe you're closer to a unicorn than we may think, and maybe you can stumble upon one, who knows. So if you want to get the PDF, like I said, there will be a link to the Discord in the link. Basically join the Discord, get verified. It's completely free to do. There will be a general chat, and I'm gonna pin the message with the URL in the general chat for like the next week or so. And if you're seeing this video like 2 weeks from now or a month from now and it's not linked in the Discord anymore, then it's fine. I'll leave a link in the description for you to be able to go and download it directly. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope the PDF and this video to go along with it is incredibly helpful to you in finding your next winning product. Maybe it's a unicorn. Hey, you never know. And I know it's a little bit long, but I try to jam pack as much value and as much experience as I can into these videos with stories to back it up and all these different things. So if you like the video and you appreciate the value, leave a like and definitely subscribe if you want more videos like this. I'm gonna start uploading more consistently from this point on. I was working on improving my strategies and basically just getting better, but I'm back at it now, and I have a bunch of great content to bring to you guys and some awesome collaborations coming soon. So keep an eye out for that, but that's pretty much it for this video. This is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace.